Okay guys, so today we're going to look through how to do a SBQ question. Here are the lesson objectives. Okay. Firstly, what is a comparison question? Okay, how to do it. I will do a demonstration. And I will also we will do some source study. So make sure that what you have, okay, you will need the SBQ4 handout, okay, either a soft copy or a hard copy, and of course you need your writing materials. Okay, so now this is what we're gonna go through now. We're gonna look at what is a comparison question. Okay. Okay, so when we're talking about what is comparison, we are looking at two things, right? We are looking at we are looking at A and B. Okay, and the question is usually how are they different? How is A different from B? Does A agree with B? So on and so forth. Okay, so if you just say, okay, are they different? If you simply say yes or no, that is answering the question, right? But then the next question is, of course, but how? How are they different? How do you know? And that is what you are going to try to prove. Okay, let's have a look at the handout. Okay, now if we look at SBQ4, okay, it explains what is comparison. Okay, there are a lot of different question types. Okay, I'm looking at question part B now. Okay, in upper sec, okay, I know in lower sec sometimes you give two similarities, two differences. Okay, but generally in upper sec we always give one similarity, one difference, regardless of what the source is. How the question is phrased. Okay, let's look at it. It says how far are they different, to what extent are they different, how far are they different, do they agree, does source A support source B? Okay, pause for a moment if you need to pause the video. Look at all the phrasing of this question. Actually, they are all very similar. They are simply asking you, is A the same as B, or is A different from B? Okay, so of course the first thing to do is always to recognize the question. This is the kind of question that we are dealing with. Okay, so how do we do the question? If you look at steps, it says read the question and understand it, which is what we have just done. We want to recognize the question type, right? Okay, and then we look at the content. Okay, we will look at similarity and difference based on the content. Then we will look at the purpose. Okay, so are they the same or not based on the purpose of the source? Okay, let me just give you an explanation. Let's say I use a different color. Okay, an example. Okay, I have A and I have B. A is a McDonald's poster and B is a Burger King poster. Now obviously they are going to be different in what content, right? One is going to say McDonald's is going to say Burger King is better. Burger King is not as good. Burger King is going to say McDonald's is not as good. But in terms of purpose, what are they? Actually, they have the same purpose, right? Which is going to be advertisement to make you buy whatever they are selling. Okay, so let's go on. This is how I would do, a comparison question. Okay, in terms of how to answer, okay, Okay, source A similar to source B? Okay, this is the question. Okay, the first thing that we want to do is to answer the question, right? ATQ, right? So let's just say source A and source B. So I will answer source A is similar to source B. Okay, if I say full stop here, doesn't answer the question, right? In terms of, then that is where I have my common criteria. Okay, I'm sure in Sec 2 you already know about this. So this common criteria has to be something which is inferred, okay, or it is a category, okay. You cannot lift it. So if I give you let's say I give you an example and I have two markers, okay? One of them is red and one of them is blue. Then I ask you, what is the difference and what is similar about marker A and marker B? And you tell me, Mr. Low, they are both markers. Okay, you already told me something that I know. I've already stated it. Okay, so please don't come and tell me something like, both sources are textual sources, obviously. Okay, tell me something I don't know. Okay. So source A and source B are similar in terms of common criteria. Okay, so how do I go on? Okay, so let's say I say this common criteria example is that both of them show that Hitler is a terrible ruler. Okay, so I would say source A shows that, and here I would make my inference. Okay, and then I would use, okay, this can be seen from evidence, which means that explanation. Okay, why inference? Because now I'm going to point out some relationships which are important. Okay, no, I should use a darker color. Okay, now my common criteria must match my inference. So if, for example, if I say they are similar in terms of Hitler's portrayal, source A, I must say Hitler has a positive portrayal of Hitler. I cannot start talking about Hitler had a lousy mustache. Okay, so when I say this is seen from, I am talking about the inference. Okay, and the evidence means something. Okay, so have I answered the question yet? No, I haven't, because I have not talked about source B. So I need to say source B. Source B shows that inference seen from evidence, which means explanation. Okay, it is the same. Okay, I just want to point out something important. Let me use a different color. If it is similar, okay, I could use similarly, or if it is different, I would say however. Let me give you an example. Okay, if I say okay, sources A and B are similar in their portrayal of Hitler. Okay, source A represents Hitler in a positive light. Okay, then I explain it, and I have a source B represents Hitler also in a positive light. Here I would say similarly source B represents Hitler. Okay, because this is signposting, it is indicating to my marker what I know I'm talking about. However, if it is different and I have source C represents Hitler in a negative light, I would use the word something like in contrast, or however, conversely, so on and so forth. Okay, again, I am making it obvious. Besides this signposting, I also like to point out, look at what I'm doing. I'm using the same language. How he's being represented. If I use positive, I contrast with negative. Okay, so that is how I make my answer very clear. All right. Now let's go on. So now, if we look back at the lesson objectives, I've already looked at what is the present question, how do I do it, okay, and I have demonstrated how to work through that. Okay, so let's look at the sources. If you look at your worksheet, okay. Oh, sorry, I forgot one thing. You want to look at the format, right? Generally, there are three parts to it. Part one, you will have you identify similarity or difference looking at the content of the source. Okay, after that, this is a level 2 lah. In terms of LOMs, level 3 is similarity and difference based on the content of the source. By which I mean, when I say content, it means you need evidence and explanation for both sources. Okay, what is the difference here? Level 2 means you are only able to see one side, but level 3 means you can see both the similarity and the difference. Okay, that is why it is a higher level, because it requires more. Level 4 requires an evaluation, okay, based on purpose of the source. So if A and B, okay, A and B or whatever, like it could be C and D, D and E, whatever, okay, are they similar or different? Based on their purpose. Okay, so if both are propaganda posters, even though they talk about different things, they might be they are of a similar purpose. Okay. Conversely, if things they might say the same thing, okay, but it doesn't mean they have the same purpose. Okay. So let's have a look at the SBQ. Okay. This is the practice question. So what I would like you to do, okay, do this as homework. Sorry, not clear. Do as homework. Okay. Sources C and D. Okay. If you notice, it is a 6-mark question. It's usually a 5 or 6-mark question. So sorry, I forgot to explain that. This is normally 2 to 3 marks. This is normally 4 to 5 marks, and this is normally 5 to 6 marks, depending on the question at hand. Okay. So let's have a look at this question. I would like you to do this question as homework. I'm going to give you some help. Again, listen to how I'm going to analyze the sources. Okay. It says a letter from the German industrialists. Okay, then I know who is it from. So industrialists, I know these are the factory owners, right? And it says to President Hindenburg in 1932. So 1932, Hitler not yet in power. Hindenburg is still there. So I wonder what they're writing to him about, right? Okay, Your Excellency, we write to you filled with passion from the fatherland. The November 1992 elections has demonstrated that the German population does not support the present cabinet. Present cabinet. Who is this? 1932. I think it is the Weimar government, right? Or rather, it is still the Weimar government. It is not dominated by the Nazis yet. Okay, they cannot afford another dissolution. Dissolution is like to dissolve the parliament. We humbly suggest you select a new cabinet bearing in mind election results in favor of the party which commands the most political support, such as the Nazis or communists. Okay, I found out something new. Nazis and communists, they both have good election results, right? If we could be so bold to suggest we would greatly prefer, who is this? Industrialists will prefer Nazis over communists. Why? Okay. Remember who the industrialists are? Okay, that's something you need to pay attention to. Okay, cool. So let me do a quick source summary. What have I figured out so far about source C? Okay, source C. Sorry, you can't see really very clearly. Source C, it says that does not support Weimar government. It says that Nazis' popularity increased, as did the communist popularity, and the industrialists prefer Nazis. Right? So now let's look at source D. Okay, source D. Oh, sorry, there's a typo on his party's political chances. Okay. Communist, okay, this is very different. On his party's political chances, 1933, addressed to his supporters. So the audience makes a difference. Okay, the opponents pose a great threat to the Nazis' dream of taking over. So again, it says they pose a great threat. For them to pose a great threat, it must imply that the Nazis and communists were popular, right? The second sentence seems to tell us the same. The post-depression election showed more votes for communists along with the Nazis. Okay, it shows the same thing. Bearing in mind political confusion and turmoil brought about by the German cabinets and chancellors, it is worth noting that the communists could have had the final victory as opposed to the eventual Nazi victory. Okay, so the Nazis have won and the communists have lost. So this seems to be published after. Okay. And it says that the Nazis had resorted to thuggish and unhand. That means they use gangster tactics. Okay, so this is an opinion of the Nazis, right? And it's saying it's a bit salty, right? I am confident we would have had, which means they didn't. Okay, so let's have a look at what it means. Source D, it says that. It also says one thing. It says that Nazi popularity also increased, right? It also said that communist popularity increased. It also says that the Nazis were thuggish. Okay, please remember the quote. They did not have a positive, they had a negative impression, right? Okay, so far so good. So actually, right, guys, if we look at it, this is already telling us what the source is about. Okay, isn't this the similarity, and isn't this the difference in opinion? Okay, so I would also like you to go and try the similarity and difference based on the purpose. Okay, how do you prove that? Proving, Okay, let's think about it. How do we prove similarity or difference based on purpose? We need evidence, right? But what is the evidence for purpose? You need to give me your AAMIC, which is your author. You should know this by heart, Audience, message with the evidence and explanation. Intended impact, or some may call it intended outcome, and the context. So in order to do this, you must analyze this for both sources and based on this data. Okay, all this is data. Okay, all this is information. You must tell me what's the purpose of all this information. All this information will help you to decide whether the sources are similar or not. All right. Okay, so if you remember, if you have questions, okay, ask in the WhatsApp. Then I can address your queries straight away. Can? Okay, very good. Have fun doing your SBQ.